Hi everyone, today is the 24th of April 2025. My name is Vinna Creation. I'm the narrator of this video clip and every other video clip on my YouTube channel. For those that are new on my channel, welcome. So obviously my YouTube channel is in regards to my personal property, and I'm talking about my personal everything, my identity, my entity, my ideas, my intellectual property, the life of a person, and also anything that's tangible in regards to property, in regards to myself and my existence on earth as a person or as a human being. Okay, before I get on to the topic that's on my heart this morning, I thought I'd just start off with the usual as a introduction of where I'm coming from. We're talking about a court case of an individual who's had several culpable offences happen to them in their personal property, meaning everything to do with them as a human being. So basically, unfortunately, the reality is what I've been subject to is definitely 100% modern day human trafficking, slavery like ring. Okay, so basically that is what my personal property or my profile entails. It entails some pretty serious, well, there used to be called indictable offences. Well, after doing my bit of research in the criminal jurisdiction lately, they still do have that word as indictable, but I come from when the system was actually Department of Courts, when it was called indictable, like the serious charges were called indictable offences, or, they were quite serious charges because of the seriousness of the offences that takes place. For example, home invasion. So my case is definitely one of those. It's home invasion, or especially cases like mine, that is definitely 100% quite clearly articulates that I've been used like an app, or I've been used like a product to promote other people. They've animated or inanimated me historically, and they've stolen my intellectual property secretly without my consent. So my cases would actually fall, if it was in the old system, definitely indictable offences has occurred in my case. But trafficking in persons is a 20 years imprisonment penalty. That still exists today. That hasn't changed. And it can still be charged against body corporates or individuals. Okay, so basically, because of my experience and knowledge, it has actually helped me to be able to put a case together, because it's about me, and because I've had that experience working in the Department of Courts, where my role was back then putting together murder cases, serious fraud cases, and other indictable cases, like, for example, rape, sexual violation, you name it, I've done it all. So basically, I do know what I'm looking for when I actually need to put my case together. So it's been a tough process for me, because it's about myself, and there's been a lot of pain and suffering involved, because I'm reliving incidents from the past. But to be able to put a case together in real life, all these things need to be, you need to go back and focus on the evidence, and to actually put together the case, and just finding out what are the key and the core elements and component of my case. but hasn't been an easy thing for me. This case has been going on unlawfully for nearly 9 years. So I say this year will be the 9th year that I'm going with it. Well, I'm actually going with the Ministry of Health at the moment, going through the criminal process to the next procedure. I have not found it, I have not found any pleasure in doing what I've gone through. If anything, it's been horrific, and it's been really hard for me to persevere and not give up. But basically what I'm actually doing is how to compact human trafficking such as mine. So it's good tips there of what you need to put together. Even though the system has changed dramatically, the laws, there are still laws there to be able to use to as a self-defense, to protect yourself as an individual, and even if you're running a business. But definitely I've been used for relationship scams. Take away the access of a relationship scam and the access of technologies. The opposing ally has nothing to actually be able to do what they've done to me historically. But definitely relationship scams and public deception and all that. So if you've been watching all the other video clips, there's clear evidence that they've used me for like a love triangle. People have used me for that. It's illegal. It's been this kind of methods, the old methods before the technology. It's just a little bit more advanced, and it's unfortunately it snuck itself in, and now everyone is meant to get used to it. But if you don't have a clue or any awareness of what human trafficking is, or even the targeting signs, anyone can be lured into a trafficking ring like I have. And the most dangerous thing about it, it's global. So basically, I have all my rights as a human being has been violated. Okay, so the liberty of a person has been violated. So I guess I learned a lot in the early years when I was putting a file together, after somebody is murdered, putting their cases together about their life after the fact is actually not really easy to do for those who are kind of taking over the case to look at it, to try and find out who is responsible, because at the end of the day, somebody has to be made accountable of what happened to that person. Okay, so it's basically I'm doing the similar kind of thing, but I'm not dead yet. But what's happened to me in my profile is that real serious culpable criminal homicide offences has occurred in the moment while I was working for my employer, and as my existence as a human being or an individual. So I'll just carry on with the evidence. So basically we're dealing with the Bill of Rights. So the Bill of Rights and the human rights is what I recommend that you educate yourself with and your family or your children about. Okay, so then they know their rights as a human being and as a citizen. So the Bill of Rights is pretty good. Like if this is kind of the laws that supports you. If you don't want the doctors to do anything, you can say no, I want to exercise my Bill of Rights and decline, because these days some doctors are quite forcible, and unfortunate reality is if you are targeted, one of the things that can happen to you is that people lie. Okay, they do lie, and I have to say that my experience has basically saved my own life. Okay, anyway, but the Bill of Rights is what you can use if medical practitioners want to put pressure or do operations, or maybe they've diagnosed you with something and you agree or disagree. If you agree, that's okay. It's on you. But if you unsure, I recommend to get a second opinion before you do anything. Allow them to do anything upon yourself. But the Bill of Rights, all you need to say and quote is that, no, I don't want to do that. I want to exercise my Bill of Rights, and that they can't do anything further than that without your consent, okay? So just remember, no one can do anything on you unless you say yes, or you have given your power of authority to somebody else to speak on your behalf. Like a power of attorney, that's about the only time that they can do that. Okay, not even your family members. So because part of what I've gone through is people are digging up people's past, and then they go to their family members or their family friends, and just through gossip they're doing unlawful investigation on the individual, which I believe that's what's happened in my case, or can happen in anybody. But according to the law, that is unlawful. That's unlawful, if anything, like it's illegal. Unlawful disclosure it's called, because one, they don't have a search warrant to even do that. But then for obvious reasons, okay, because of defamation, libel, slander, for those very reasons. So the Bill of Rights and any rights upon an individual, not even your family, has that right to speak on your behalf. I know that some cultures and some religion, they think that they have a right over an individual or a member of their family, but in real life, in reality and legally, they actually don't. Okay, the only time that someone has authority over somebody is when they've got children, like when you got underage children. According to the law, the children are not an adult until they're 18. So that's about the only time where parents, as a parent, their children, is their responsibility until they're actually 18 years old. As far as other adults, like members of your family, some cultures, they like to have meetings about somebody's well-being and make decisions about them behind their back and without their consent. That's illegal too. Okay, there's nothing in legislation that actually allows that or condones that. Even a lot of cultures do that, but I don't believe in that, and I've never given anyone in my family the authority, or anyone else the authority, to speak on my behalf. So I'm talking from the legal terminology of things, but that's how the law is. And so cultural beliefs and cultural religious beliefs, they do not come into legal matters when a case has been processed against individuals or body corporate. So definitely the Bill of Rights, they've taken my Bill of Rights. So they've basically deprived me of a lot of things. Okay, it may not seem like it on the surface, because I'm surviving. I'm basically doing the best I can to stay on top of what I'm going through that is actually out of my control. But if you look into my personal property, it's quite clear that people have actually used me, they've done illegal scientific experiment on me. So that has actually stopped me from being able to advance, because they're actually pinning me down and hostage taking and using me for relationship scam. So that's very clear. That's what's happened, and that has not stopped to this day, from the time when I leave my home to when I go out. So somebody is monitoring and pinning me down like an app. Or sometimes I feel like anybody would think I've murdered a lot of people, which I haven't. But that is what it feels like. Okay, so I am being deprived. I'm being deprived of natural justice. I'm being deprived of, people in my space, just being allowed to be private without other people listening in and interfering. Because there's a lot of things what they've done to me that is so illegal, and basically I've been deprived of fundamental justice, or just and I mean, I've done everything correctly and I've won all my cases before God and the laws, but people are sabotaging me secretly, and on top of that they're defaming, well, they were defaming as part of a way of, secretly eliminating our individual. Okay, so that's quite a serious case. You're like buried, like it's a left behind case, but I'm buried. I'm buried alive in my truth. Even though everything I've done has been correct, the murderous alliances are those that are doing the public deception and the stalking and using relationship scam. Okay, so it's a very serious case. I'm lucky to even be it's not actually lucky, but it's actually blessed. I'm very lucky and blessed that I'm alive to actually talk about it in my own words. Other things that is pretty cruel with what they've done to me is they are secretly torturing me. What I've gone through historically by myself has been a personal torture, emotional torture, mental injury has happened. This is when a person suffers from mental anguish. I didn't even know what mental anguish was until I actually had to go through it myself. And then also just the cruel negligence and the cruel abuse from the public scrutiny in between. It's horrific. It's like, it's degrading, and you feel like they're punishing you for something and you don't know what it is. It's not good condition for any single female to be in, and they are using their jobs, like even going on the bus or the train. They know who you are because they're coding, and it's global, so which makes it even more dangerous. But I am definitely an exploited victim. So there's a clear case. My case is definitely indictable. It's culpable homicide. There are also other incidents in my case that I can actually charge my employer for conspiracy to commit murder, and other incidents too in my profile, like suicidal pact, conspiracy. Yeah, this is so much. It's a category 4 case. And of course, if somebody's going to be doing a medical or scientific experiment on any human beings, of course, serious violent offences definitely occurs. But the Bill of Rights actually clearly says that they're not allowed. No one is allowed to actually do that without the person's consent. Okay, so this here is the Bill of Rights. So I recommend you teach yourself and teach your children these laws, so then they can grow up knowing their rights and knowing, when to say yes and no. And if they don't feel comfortable or feel right about it, they can say no. Okay, and this also including if you don't want to go under any medical treatment, you can say no. Okay, so they used the Mental Health Act on me going back to February 2016. I said no, but they still used it on me, so hence is the reason why now I have a very clear case against them, and now the Ministry of Health is definitely 100% in the criminal jurisdiction. Okay, while I'm on the topic, because all this is evidence, okay, it's been quite an interesting case for me to actually put together. So this here is when they use the act on me without my consent. Okay, they give you a piece of paper for them for the act. This is the act they used on me. Okay, by law, it's criminal. It's criminal if you use the act on an individual without any evidence or without their consent. Okay, this is but the only act that where the state or whoever has enforced it, where your rights is actually taken away. Okay, So this is the act that they used on me unlawfully, and that's why my case has been pending and I've been fighting it in the courts, and I've actually won it all. Then we had the names of the party that became an issue. They were sabotaging my case. Okay, these people are intimately into everything that I'm doing. They've treated me like some kind of a product, and they're into everything. So this is why things have taken so long, because they're cheating, and this is the reason why we've got unlawful strikes. But just to confirm, I did at the hearing on the 22nd of May 2020. I'm just trying to think what year it was. I think it was 2023. I think it's 2023. I've got the video up anyway. 2023 or 2024. I think it's 2023. Because I've had quite a lot of hearings since 2014. So, but the other evidence that I actually showed at this hearing, I did, I even said this in my brief as evidence with the judge. And there was question about the names of the party. If you watch the other video clip, that I've actually exhausted the system, okay? It's gone through Court of Appeal and then Supreme Court. And while that, the names of the party was the issue, and the registrars were trying to tell me I had to change it, okay? But this year I did highlight to the judge at the hearing that the names of the party should be Ministry of Health. You can see it right here. This is what exactly says on the form, so I was correct anyway. I mean, I already knew it. The law also said it, and I also had support of the court that confirmed that, what I had to do, but I already did my research. But this here clearly says Ministry of Health, okay? This is on one of their forms that they give people when they use the act on them, okay? And we're going to go through that. I'm just going through it now so you can see it yourself. So they did lock me up 5 days ago. For 5 days they locked me up. This is the date. This is the address I was at the time. This is the doctor that I have reason to believe she's Croatian, linked to Moana. Okay, I believe that's her family member or somebody that knows her. Because they've used, like, other cultures and religions have personally attacked me and trafficked me in between. So everybody didn't know what I was going through. I knew what I was going through was serious. But she signed this, and I actually met her on the Friday. So they used the act on me on the 4th of February 2016. But then on Friday, when they locked me up in the hospital, admitted me, this is the first time I met her. She is also the doctor that had the meeting with about 5 members of my family, 4 or 5, sorry, there's a list of them. And she took the meeting. She actually asked me at the meeting on Friday the 5th of February 2016 to actually invite 2 members of, she asked to invite 2 members of my family she wanted to have a talk to them. And I knew that they were going to set me up because of the things that she spoke about at the meeting. So it was just a normal conversation. She had 3 students in there. And then she asked me questions relating back to the report dated the 8th of July 2009, when my employer sent me to see those other 2 doctors that I've sued, okay? So she, that my members of my family did go to that meeting. I think it was on the 9th. When was that? Yep, on the 9th before the court hearing. And I thought at the time, I said yes to it at the time because I thought I was going to get invited in the meeting, but she left me out. I went to the meeting and I waited outside. They said to me to stay and wait outside. I thought she was going to come and get me, but they had the meeting without me in there. So I don't know what she told my family, but it was not good. I did not consent to not to be in the meeting. So that was another thing. She did that on her own, which this is another reason why I believe what she did was intentional. Okay, it's a conspiracy, and it was all part of a pre-planned by those in authority at the time. But they did use the act on me. The whole intention was to actually ruin my reputation, and it was all linked to the workplace issue when they derailed me. But it was everything got cancelled. I won this case anyway at the employment process that I went through, and the mental incapacity decision was cancelled, and I actually resigned from my job. However, it did ruined my reputation for the longest time because the conspiracy involved many people, and those very many people, that very same alliance, were all using this against me, and they were ridiculing me and just put me through real bad living hell abuse, and psychologically, mentally, and publicly. Okay, so a moment. So that is why I'm suing them. They used the act for me for like 5 days. I did get released. Also, I noticed on some of the evidence that she had put her name, that she was at the meeting before the judge. She was not even at the meeting before the judge. All right, but there was like a total, I think, 4 or 5 members of my family, 6. I can't remember, but I do have a list of them. They can all be summoned in if the Ministry of Health wants to challenge that. This is the hospital they use. Apparently that's not there anymore, but it did exist. So it's still a criminal case. But yeah, just things like that. It's quite clear evidence of sabotage, clear evidence of falsifying medical records, and clear evidence of tampering, and just evidence, mixed match evidence that's fraud. Okay, this is the other doctor. She is Asian, all right. And I believe that what I've gone through personally, all these doctors, it's their family and their friends are all linked. They're using their jobs to do what they've done to me personally. So it's a personal vendetta, and the abuse and everything they've done to me is personal. So I just want to, let's go back to what I was looking at. Just give me a sec. Okay, so this here is Steve Culpin's report. I will actually let you guys read this, okay? This is his report on me. This is the doctor that actually wrote the report without my consent and without even a one-on-one consultation. But it was his report is the reason why Dan Brady terminated the case. Okay, so I'll just do this so you guys can read it. It's quite lengthy, but he made a mental health assessment on document. This is where he got his information, okay? And he's calling me employee A. I was just horrified, right? You're talking about someone who's been working in the top-notch, trained and that to do criminal, high-profile cases, and then they turn around and do this to me. I was horrified. I was disgusted. Okay, so he wrote this report. I didn't even know what he looked like. Okay. He wrote the report without my consent. I said no after I read why they wanted me to do it for, and I knew I was being set up. And I mean, you're talking about it nearly took them 9 years to push me out of my job. Okay, so this is the actual report that why I was terminated. They'd already planned everything to get rid of me. This is after years of working for my employer, and I knew people were stealing from my bank accounts and abused while I was working. And they even conspiracy to try to murder me with the flu injection. Okay. There you go. So you guys can just stop the video and read it yourself. The guy's name is Dr. See, what I was going through was so serious while I was working, okay? I mean, they were glued to me. I'm like, nothing has changed. It was like having a thorn in the flesh, okay? So it was like they twinned me with somebody, but they were using different people all the time. And then they were personally doing disgusting stuff in my space. Absolutely, like putting, just disgusting stuff. I don't even want to say it because it's disgusting. But they were personally victimizing me. They were monitoring me. Like, they were deviating my positive energy to somebody else, other people in the office. They built an alliance in my work environment. They treated me invisible. And then they were slowly, what's the word? They were slowly demoting me is the word. They were making my work environment very difficult. It was intentional. Unfortunately, I can identify it as some of the Māoris and some white supremacists at that time. Okay. And I'm telling you, they were glued to me and they persecuted me. And yeah, it was very bad working condition. Even though I actually handled myself quite well, there were different times I reacted because I got sick of it. And the moment I reacted, they wanted to highlight on my faults and flaws. So they were fault finding me. So they dug up my profile to fault find me. Okay, so you can see it's a very long. I'll try and rush it up. Read it for yourselves. Okay, but this is the report. That's his name, but he's Citymed. Okay, even though it's just that long ago, it's still a conspiracy, and it can still be addressed because I'm still entitled to my justice. Other things I had in there in my profile, I thought I might as well I remember, because if you watch the other video clips, I talked about how they stole my bank accounts and everything. Well, they'd gone and dug up my past. Okay, so heaps of government officials had used their occupation to dig up my past without my permission. But obviously they did that because, before anyone can commit serious crimes like they have done to me, where they've used me for money laundering or used me as a slave, of course they need to find out, they want to study the object first before, to see if they can get away with what they're doing, because the things that they've done to me is beyond serious. So I did have a New Zealand citizen application, and it was official, and then I had a passport. Then when I did my investigation, I found out that they had gone and cancelled it for no reason at all. So I do have the intention of making all the corporate bodies involving my personal profile. Okay, when someone gets murdered, these are the kind of things I've got to go. This is the guy, David Brooker, okay? So he went and cancelled but this is also linked to the Unison Dance Crew hip hop group. Okay, there was no reason for them to cancel it. I didn't even know they cancelled it. I didn't even know until I actually did my own investigation into my profile, and then this is the date they did it, and I didn't even know. Oh, hang on, sorry. This is the date I contacted them. Okay, the 20th of 28th of October 2020, and he cancelled it. Let's have a look. Oh, one moment. There it is. He cancelled it here on the July 14th, 2010. But I didn't even know. No one contacted me. I didn't even know, okay? And also I had a name change too. So somebody had gone and changed my documents. So it's a clear case of people internal. This guy's name is David Brooker. So all these people are actually accountable, and these corporate bodies are all accountable for conspiracy. Okay, and digging up a person's past without a warrant, because unless I've committed some pretty serious crimes, that's the only time that people can actually get a warrant and do that. But then they have to let the person know. And then they have to make sure they have evidence, because they can get sued or prosecuted for unlawful everything. So this here is all evidence and exhibits in the court. Okay, these are all the correspondence I put together on my profile. Let's just go through. There's something else I saw. But it's all been like I've gone. Everything's gone back to normal. There, like, because I do have a citizenship paper, but I swear to God, here's my passport. What these people did was absolutely illegal. So this is just me putting my case together. Okay, so Unison Dance Crew is also, that information is all in there. I mean, heaps of people in public office, or when they were working for the government, maybe they're not working for the government anymore, but they did steal off me, okay? They're definitely, I swear to God, this is the reason why they pinned me down while I was working. This is the reason why they derailed me and conspired to do what they've done to me secretly without my consent. And then they expect me to, to forget it and not go back and address it. Anyways, but yeah, so everyone can actually see that I was actually the one who it was actually my idea to actually incorporate. It was my idea to do all this, okay? It wasn't my idea to start the group, but it was my idea to legalize it. Then I tried to close it, but I went through exactly what I'm going through today with all my other court cases. All these are relevant information, okay? But it is definitely like a group of white supremacies, a mixture of cultures, definitely the Māoris. They've committed some pretty serious crimes on me, very serious, and they know it. And then they've stolen off me, and then they've ruined my reputation and tried to make me kill myself, or they've tried to kill me. But that's the truth of the matter. Okay, so here is a Inland Revenue document from Inland Revenue dated on the 27th of January 2013. Okay, they kept sending me, this is when I realized that they had stolen my identity and was operating without my permission, even though I tried to cancel it and stop it. The last time I had anything to do with this group was at the hearing at the Disputes Tribunal in 2010. And, 2010, it was like all hell broke loose for me. But I kept getting these tax returns saying under the name of the group, but they were sending it to me saying that I owed money. but I had nothing to do with it. But this is evidence that somebody was. This is the person, the commissioner. Yeah, so I tried to sort it all out with the Inland Revenue and letting them know that, this is a fraud matter. But it's been a losing battle because they know they've committed fraud and they know it's serious. So they're locking me out for these very reason, because they have no intention of actually allowing it to be a criminal case, if you know what I mean. But then they do have like the new system. The system that I believe they're doing is some people do get charged with serious crimes, but then they use their money and the name suppression to protect the names of the actual criminals, but they don't tell the victim. Then that's not fair. Okay, and as far as I'm concerned, I don't know what they want to call it, but people have kept on using me and stealing off me and trying to kill me. And that's not on. Okay, whoever thought of the system, that's not on. That's illegal. But see here, these are the. So anyway, I've already told them that I told them in their revenue that I haven't had anything to do with the group at all. And from the last hearing that we had with the group, with the other manager that was at the hearing, and myself, and the adjudicator that took the hearing, he actually said that we weren't allowed to operate until it was sorted because of the court case. And then I tried to get the court case sorted in the in the civil jurisdiction, but the court deputy registrar sabotaged that too. That's serious stuff, all right? But yeah, let's just go with this. See what else was in here while we're at it. Okay, but heaps of government officials were all involved in this. Heaps of politicians. The abuse that I was suffering, they treated me invisible while I was working. I did everything at that time to get funding. I wasn't breaking any laws whatsoever. I knew, it was voluntary. Okay, so no, I did everything voluntary. No one paid me anything. It took me hours and days to put everything together legally. Okay, anyone that knows how a lawyer thinks, and judges and all that, they know how much work goes into putting legal stuff together. So I did everything myself. No help. They didn't pay me. Okay, I got nothing out of helping Unison, other than almost getting killed. And then I feared for my kids' life because they didn't know they were in danger at that time. I mean, it was very bad. All right, another thing I wanted to talk about that's on my heart is this. Okay, so this is the kind of problems that I was having with the courts. This here, I've got a few of them. Now, this is the Ministry of Justice case. Okay, I put an incident report. Okay, this is the hearing. I won that case too, but it was still unlawful strike, even though I presented the evidence. Okay, so the hearing was on the 1st of November 2023. I'm trying to think when was the last date for Ministry of Health. It's either 22nd of May 2024 or 2023. Anyway, it's on one of my claps. Okay, so I'd actually made a report because these people are doing what they're doing to me. They've isolated me from my families and my friends. Okay, so my families and my friends didn't even know half of the things I've gone through. They've done this illegally by myself, so they've made sure that no one comes close to me. They're interfering with all my relationships. This has also allowed them to make it easy for them to steal and turn my life into a product like they have. Okay, so at this point of time, I'm complaining on this memo to the judge that the registrar refused to sign my documents. Okay, my interlocutory, because I wanted my interlocutory application to be signed. You see, I rang the police, and the police have never taken any of my calls seriously because everyone's in on it. Okay, so they're abusing me under the camera, abusing me by myself. And then when I go public, they're abusing me publicly. In my home, they're abusing me. And then when I do react, they want to highlight, oh, she just did this, or she just swore, or, I mean, who wouldn't do that? Okay? That's just inhumane. Okay? That's just evil. And then you listen on the radio of musicians siding with the thieves, siding with those women that they are, wanting to win or helping them win. So this here was written to Judge, was on the date of the 28th. It was to one of the judges of the case. See, and there's numerous phone calls too that I made to the police, but unfortunately they were all in on it. Okay, they locked me out, blocked me. All I'm doing is complaining, and then they just pretend, do nothing about it. They've basically locked me out and steal everything. Okay, so I'll try and finish this soon. They like to pick up my flaws. Okay, I had a difficult life. Okay, so I'm not one to it's not something that I like to talk about, but it is the truth. But when in a court case like mine, it's important that the truth is actually this here. While I get onto the story that's on my heart quickly. These are all the people that were on the PSA. Okay, so I know all these people. Okay, so all this here is a list of names that were PSA members that know me. Okay, and I even got certificates like this. So this is what you call. They told me it was a diploma with PSA when you do several workshops. That's actually, I was known by Noema too, so I'm known by two names. If they get that wrong, that's not my fault. Okay, if the ministry didn't know that I was known by two names, that's not my fault. That's their problem. So this here is my membership that I was with the PSA for that long. Okay. So all these information PSA got, okay. So I passed security, okay. Now, I might as well just talk about it because I know that they're using that about me, but I think you guys are a coward. That's all I can say. I mean, how dare you? Who do you think you are to dig up somebody's past, especially someone innocent, someone who's actually worked really hard all their life? Okay, and then you guys go pick up their past and then gloat about it and use it against them. That's illegal. Okay, shame on you is all I can say. But before I do that, I'll just go through this so you can all stop and look, because this is all evidence of people that knew me. Okay, so they can all be summons and then they all can go under oath. Okay, and I'm telling people in government, especially in the court, they wouldn't dare lie under oath because they'll go to prison. Some try, but that's at their risk. Okay, so I'll just hang on. Okay, also I had in there was evidence of, because I had to move out. All right, I had to move out in 2010. Because of, like I said, 2010 hell broke loose. 2010 they poisoned me with the flu injection. 2010 I had the car accident that got me the neck injury. So I had to move out, split my home, split my family. Okay, I was a single parent. I had to split my family and split my kids up. My kids are suffering, the odd time that we've had disputes about it, because I've heard their view as a as children, where they blame me for a few things and thought that I'd abandoned them. But this is the reason why I had to break up my family. Okay, so, but these are the kind of things the opposing allies are doing. They are digging up people's past, and then they automatically see negative. Okay, so they may think I'm an unfit mother, I'm abandoned my kids, blah blah blah. But to tell you the truth, the government actually owes my family an apology for putting me through all this hell, even though I did everything right. I may never get it, but this gives me satisfaction and reassurance that God will give me justice no matter what. But this here is the address that I actually moved out to. That address has actually changed. So what I also have found out is that these people are committing crimes, and they have to be somebody with lots of money from overseas, or somebody in government who has lots of money to be able to go and change things like they don't exist, or that nothing is there. Okay, so that's a clear case of serious conspiracy when people are doing that. But whoever's behind what I'm going through is using their money. Okay, could be a millionaire, could be a billionaire, could be somebody globally overseas, another government agency. Okay, because they've used me globally. It's acts of terrorism. But this is the address that I had to move out, and this is the people that I boarded with. And I actually went to go and look at their street where I used to live, and that's not there anymore because they've changed the street around. Okay, the guy's name was Glenn Johansson, right here. He had a wife named Linda. That was 2010. Okay. Some of these people are actually not here anymore. They've actually passed away. But this here is, there it is. I've written down him and his wife's name. I actually stayed in a unit. But this happened in 2010, 5th of May. So there's a clear consistency in my whole profile. It's actually really easy to walk the footsteps of my profile because I've been that efficient. Okay, and some things are not there anymore because they've removed it. And the scary thing is they've actually deleted some of my past like I didn't exist. Okay, so this is why my case is actually really, really serious. This is the address I used to live in. It's been moved around. I've gone to the street myself personally just to have a look, and they've moved everything around. I don't know how that is possible, but they've done it. Okay. All right, all relevant information. I've already gone through this. Just names of people that I know. They can all be summons. Okay. Okay, so they've dug up my past to use against me. Okay, so if you're going to do that, make sure you do it accurately, because you can be done for unlawful disclosure directly or indirectly. Okay, and those video clips and the way you're doing it can be used against you as conspiracy. Okay, so part of what I've gone through, I'm dealing with an alliance that is negative, and they are playing a sport like games with my life. Okay, whether they're using me for relationship scam or for money laundering purposes or for movie ideas. Okay, so they've dug up my past, and because it's about me, I might as well say yes. I did talk about, just one moment. I feel this is actually really important, okay, because no one is perfect, but I feel in my heart maybe it's time to disclose it. Okay, so what people have used me for, obviously relationship scam. Okay, so other things that I've noticed is with what they've done to me, this is where the Ministry of Health, or part of the scientific experiment, where they want to, done some pretty inhumane stuff to me, okay, but they were actually studying me as a human being, and trying to, like a computer, and then stealing and using me like a robot, okay. But at the same time, they're taking advantage of the fact of using other women to compare me to them, to make them look like the better person, okay? So I'm used to it, but it's annoying. I'm reacting to it because I'm sick of it, because it's disgusting. And I just find that what they're doing to me is just not on. It's illegal and it's not funny, okay? So what I wanted to talk about today also is that, yes, I've already spoken about this in my other video clips. It's quite clear I come from a very dysfunctional background. I am adopted, okay? And I'm not actually ashamed of my life. Just get that. I just want to make that very clear. I am not ashamed of who I am today. I am not ashamed of my life, okay? Why would I be? Because I've achieved a lot. A heck of a lot more than some of yous put together, okay, by myself, all right? And I'm not exalting myself, but I have gone through so much. It's just inhumane, and what I find despicable is what everyone has done to me. It's despicable. I'm telling you, it's inhumane. You just do not do it to any human being. So I'm just saying it straight. Okay, I've had a very difficult life. I'm adopted. And then my father was, I love my dad today, and, in remembrance of him, there were so many good things about my dad that that I love, but he had a drinking problem. He was an alcoholic. And so when he touched the bottle, he was a different person. But for those who are in my space being busybody, what's your excuse for your abuse and your childish behavior? My dad had a drinking problem and he was violent, okay? I'm not the only person in the world that's had that kind of background. I was a child, I was adopted, and, and we had I come from a humble beginning, and today all my family members are very successful. Okay, I'm talking about my brothers and my sisters. They're very successful in their own lives today as individual, and I'm proud of them. My family is successful. My children are successful adults, good citizens. Proud of them. Okay, but I had a difficult life. I had things were not easy with an alcoholic father back then. Okay, that was his drinking problem. He was a good dad. He was intelligent. He worked for telecom, and then knowing his background, he didn't have an easy background either. So that made sense. It was just like, cycle repeating itself. He didn't do drugs or anything. He just had an alcohol problem. And that, that reflected on our difficult life as young children. But we persevered, okay? And then my mum found a really good church, and I grew up in a European church, Holy Spirit led back then. Okay, this video is going to go a little bit long because I need to talk about this because I feel I have to. But because this is evidence from my own words, because I know that the opposing allies are so nosy. They think they're so perfect, okay? You got to remember too, everyone, the people that are doing these things, picking up, digging up people's past and stuff like that, they're people we wouldn't even have to do, have anything to do with in real life. You're talking about gay people. You're talking about people, with different beliefs to you. Or we're talking about, I'm not racist, okay? We're talking about cultures. We're talking about religions that are barbaric, okay? Self-righteous human beings doing this secretly. You guys are breaking the law. But I'm going to tell my story my way, okay? Because this is going to be evidence, and it's not anything you have on me is not strong enough to put decent, sensible human being or turn them against me. If anything, they'd be angry at yous. But like I said, life wasn't easy for me. Just to cut a long story short, I'll get to the point. I ran away from home. Okay, so I had a difficult upbringing as a child. It was abusive, and not, it was mum and dad fighted, that kind of a scenery. Okay, family violence and stuff like that. And I'm proud of my mum. She's done really well. She's she's no one is perfect, but she has done very well in so many things, and amongst everything that she has gone through herself personally, and stuff like that, and the things that that she went through personally, it was a personal journey that was hers, but this one here I'm talking about is mine. So I ran away from home when I was 14 years old. Okay, I was only 14 years old. I've already spoke about the rape incident, but I'm going to talk about other things that I know that the opposing allies are inciting about it. Okay, stuck up people. That's what I'm saying. Stuck up people. Too good for, they think they're too good for everybody, or they're better than everyone. Okay, I pray God will humble you, because you guys need humbling. So what actually happened was, I was 14 years old. I ran away from home, okay, because my father was an alcoholic. It was just one of those sceneries. And yeah, when I was in school, I mixed with naughty kids too. I had the privilege of going to a church as a child. I was still a child, okay? I was underage. And you're not an adult until you're 18, but I was underage, and as a child, you think as a child. And when I went to school, I mixed with non-Christian friends. Then I'd go to church, and then I'll sit under a godly ministry. So I got those kind of, I got God's love, and then I'd go to school, and then I just mixed with everyday kids. But I ended up mixing also with just dysfunctional kids like myself, just children, and being children. And I got into, I never got caught. I did some naughty things as a child. I mixed with friends, and we experiment with smoking cigarettes, and I did the thing where I didn't tell my parents I was going to go somewhere, and I'd say I'll go stay with a friend. But then we ended up going out, and I went night clubbing without them knowing. I did things like that, like any other child, okay? But I was a child, and I was naive, but home life was difficult. It was very difficult. Back then, my father was very difficult, and I ran away from home at 14, the last year of my 14. Of my fourth form year, that's what it was called back then. I was only 14. So because a big incident had taken place at home, and my father was very drunk, and so I ran away from home, and I ran away to be with my brother, who was in another state, in Wellington. Okay. And so here I am. I'm a teenager. That's the reason why I left church as a teenager. But I had some good memories back then. I haven't kind of reflected on that, but I did. The seed was sown. But I ran away from home, and then I went and stayed with my brother, who lived in Wellington. Okay. Because my brother was my world back then, because we both had a very difficult life. If anything, me and him got the worst of my father growing up because of his drinking problem. And those that knew my dad back then knew he was a very difficult man. He was very traditional. He was very intelligent too. He meant well for his family, but if you knew his background, what he came from, you'd understand, okay? So it was just like a cycle really kind of repeating itself, but, I'm glad to be able to give God the glory that cycle has broken in my family, okay? So each generation is responsible for their own actions, and but anyway, I'm talking about what happened. I ran away, and then I went to school. I went to Hutt Valley High School in Wellington. But before I went to school, I ended up, what happened, I ended up, this is also where I got raped too. But one day, I don't know, I do recall, in my mindset, I was lost. I was confused. I was lonely. I run away from home, and I was just a lost soul as a child back then, okay? I had no sense of direction. I wasn't with my parents anymore. I was with my mum's sister. And all that, everything was just strange. I was confused. I was a kid, okay? I had no sense of direction. One day I went out. Instead of going to school, I ended up shoplifting, and I got caught. Okay, so yes, I do have a conviction, but I was a child. That was the first time in my life I went before a judge. And back then, the judge were tough. They were tough, and that judge was so tough on me. She scared the hell of. Well, it was a he actually. He scared the hell out of me, and I never did anything like that again. I went and stole a T-shirt. Okay. And then they took me home, and that was the end of that. And I never did it again, but that gave me a conviction. So for your information, everybody, according to the law, when a child commits a crime, you get a clean slate after, because I was a kid. So that is why I passed security when I got my job in the government, because the laws, because people aren't even allowed to have that information. But I know that this is floating out there by busybodies who are stuck up and think they're so perfect. Okay, you can tell I'm furious and I'm angry because I know exactly you're talking about me, and it's a petition thing to try and exalt whoever you've compared me to. Right, and that's why I've got the attitude at the moment, because it's offensive what yous are doing to me. It's inhumane. It's disgusting. And so I'm just putting that right with the public. That's about the only thing I did wrong as a child. But it didn't affect anything when I applied for my jobs in the government, because it doesn't, because I was a kid. Okay, they don't hold, and there is a clean slate when with things like, I think after 7 years or something, 10 years, depending what it is. But that's what I did. I shoplifted. And while we're on the topic, this is what I believe why these people who have broken the law and dug up my past, they've known about the conviction. So they've dug up my past and have intentionally stolen of my bank accounts, and have intentionally did illegal money laundering and invasion, and then trying to make out I'm the thief. Get the picture? I've known that's what they were doing, but that is what they were doing. But according to the law and according to God, my conscience is absolutely pure and clean. I was a kid. And when I got my job working for the ministry or Department of Courts, I did what did I do? I got a student loan out, okay? And then I did an AUT, Advanced Certificate in Business Administration. And that is how I got my foot in the door working for the government. And then I worked hard, okay? I didn't sleep with somebody. I didn't use my looks or anything like that. I worked hard amongst everything else that I was going through, domestic violence, being a mum and dad to my 3 little kids at that time. They were only young. And then, the relationship was not good. It was not a good relationship. It was either lose my kids or me kill myself, okay? because he had a mental health issue. He had a drinking problem. He was a womanizer, and he was an alcoholic, and he beat me up, and he put me through hell. That is the truth of the matter, right? Today we are friends, okay, but that relationship will never ever rekindle. So that's why I do not believe in for better or for worse. Today he lives with my daughter, okay. My daughter's, I'm proud of her because she's doing the Christian thing, because he had nobody. He wasn't being looked after, and he's actually very, very sick. Like, he's not the same person mentally either. But I believe that people in his life, okay, because he was also a drug dealer, okay, so he was living a double life. But I believe people connected to him used him, okay, that's what they've done. I also had a final protection order with my kid's name on it, so nobody can use him and he can't use him to try and get to me. So I have a very strong case against the government, those involved, for using me for relationship scam, for endangering my children, okay, because the division in my home is caused by the unlawful invasion, the unlawful digging up my past to use against me. So that is the truth of the matter, okay, everyone. And they've used me for branding too. So this is why they're digging up my past, and then they put somebody younger, or whatever they want to call them, okay. They are victims in the beginning, but after a while they're not victims because they know exactly what they're doing. But those people that are actually the branding people, paying them to do these things, this is what they're doing to me, okay. They're comparing these people compared to me over those people, if you know what I'm saying, like the branding. So they're using my past against me. But this is what I'm telling you guys now is what this video I know can be used for my criminal case. But that is what they've done, okay. They've dug up some people's life. Then they're building a story and an illusion. They're stealing off them, pinning them down. And I'm not actually into praises of men, all right. I'm one of these people. I do not care what people think about me, okay, because all I care about is that my conscience is clean before God. But that is how I got my job working for the government, okay. I got a student loan out, and I even got that information as an exhibit in court to prove that I did get a student loan out. I did do a course, and then I got my foot in the door working as an administration officer at the Department of Courts at Manukau Courts when it first opened. And from there, I worked at several other. I had a fixed contract in the beginning, and then I got a permanent job. And from that job, I got a permanent job working for the Department of Corrections and so forth. So in total, I've actually worked for the government for 17 and a half years, okay, until they derailroaded me and pushed me out. So who is at fault for what's going on with me? Everyone that has done unlawful investigation, everyone that has dug up people's past for the purpose to defame. Okay, it's a conspiracy, and that is what's happened. So I'm not a criminal, and even when I got my foot in the door, I didn't break no laws. There's no laws that I have broken illegally even now. If anything, people have tampered, they've falsified, they've republished documents. They've republished government documents to create fraudulent evidence with the intention to actually kill me, okay, to actually eliminate me. That is the evidence, okay. And I can confirm it's several cultures, it's corporate cultural jealousy, and it's some white supremacist extremist. Okay, you know, we're talking about what is it called? It's called hang on. Okay, guys, it's called white collar crimes. Okay, that's what they've done by using you know, the relationship scam, and it's the white supremacies. They are grooming the people that is actually animating me. Okay, so that's what they've done to me while I was working for my employer. And then, you know, I've been concerned for my kids because my kids don't even know anything their father did. But that is the reality of our relationship. Okay, it was an on and off relationship. It was mostly off because he had a mental health problem, and he had a drug problem. He had an alcohol problem, and you know, and I just couldn't bring up a stable home with, you know, for my 3 kids with him. So I got a final protection order out, and that is an exhibit in court too, you know, so then no one can actually use him, you know, or use, you know, all the relationship scam that they've done. They've actually used his first name. They've tagged him Ty, and you know, then they've Rob is the other one, or Pastor King is the other one, and then Dan Brady is the other one, and Henry. So that is what they've done. But there's a clear case of very serious culpable crimes committed by several countries, you know, committed by the government. So it's definitely not, you know, people, you know, the originals in my space are actually the innocent civilians. And then, you know, all these women that they've used them in linking to Hollywood. They've made, you know, movie ideas. And some of these hosts, they're actually gay, okay? They're using their money. And I'm not, you know, I've got gay family in my family, okay? But I'm just revealing what the system is actually doing to actually innocent civilians. They're attacking church people. Yeah, they're busybody, and, you know, they may be gossipy, but they mind their own business. They don't mean well. You know, they don't mean to do anything wrong. You know, they're just normal citizens. And that is what they've done. But globally, you're getting people from, you know, Asia. You're getting people like China. You know, so these women are representing big countries like China. And, you know, then we've got the Maldives and the Tongans, and then we're only just islanders, okay? But behind it, you know, there are other supremacists, like people from overseas committing serious breaches, but they're actually secretly stealing off everyone. They're stealing off us, okay? And they're using the hub decks, and what I've gone through is it's an illegal Commonwealth game. And the truth of the matter is it links to the crown, okay? It links to Prince Charles. It really does. It really links to those people in hierarchy, and the whole everything is set out that way. So, but it's inhumane. It's wrong. Okay, so I thought I'd you know, this video's gone over a little bit, but it is worth it because I'm disclosing the truth, and this video can also be used for my court case. But legally, by law, I haven't broken any laws. There's nothing that they can actually challenge and use against me. I am the victim of crime, by the way, but I have never acted like it. It's just the fact that you know, some people do have fetish, you know, they have fetishes, you know, just the thrill of trying to destroy a person that has a strong personality, okay? And some cultures, they don't like strong women, and but that's your problem. It doesn't give you the right to abuse a woman or treat women or disrespect women or do what you're doing to anyone. That also goes for women, because women can be just as bad. You know, the women can be horrible too, and you know, and treat men and abuse me in it the same way. But women deal with abuse in different ways, but that it's just as evil. Okay. But yeah, so I've had to do what I'm doing for the sake of all innocent civilians like myself. When the system doesn't work and you're actually being locked out, and things are definitely life-threatening. And also, I'll just leave it as it is at the moment. As far as my court case is going, I'm still going with it, and currently I will update you guys as things go on. I just know that I'm supposed to be doing this, so sorry if I become out, sound angry, because I am. Okay, I'm still healing. What everyone's done to me it's not acceptable. It's cruel, right? And I find it very offensive when I listen to the radio or watch TV. It's getting a bit better. It's listening, meaning, obviously people are getting the gist that they can get arrested, or the honest people are actually catching them out. But they're still there. But yeah, so I'll leave it at that. And also the other thing that they like to highlight is they use Bunnings. Okay, the reason why they're opposing me is because I'm an individual. Okay, I'm a strong individual. I'm independent, and I've always been independent. I do everything myself, and I know there's still a lot of people that is very much independent like me. I'm more like into the European culture because that's what I'm used to. That's how I was brought up, and that's just the way I am. And I'm not prepared to change for anyone, even though, we've got to change with the times. And we just have to, otherwise none of us will survive. It's not even safe to be sheltered anymore. It's just not. Okay, but some of these people, they call themselves agents. Okay, and all these people, even though they've got jobs and they may have qualifications, but they come from backgrounds too that they'll probably have strange, some of them are linked to other bad people in their life, because everyone's got it. There's no one is perfect. Okay, the thing is you just need balance and respect each other's privacy, and stop breaking the law. So I will just end this video now. I'm sorry I've gone too long, but that is what is on my heart today, was to actually clear. Yes, I did get a conviction when I was young. I was, I just still recall the day I stole a t-shirt when I went shop instead of going to school. Because I wagged school that day. I was not in my rightful mind as a child. I was lost. I was. Yeah, I just know that I was not a happy child back then, and then I stole a child, and I did naughty things like that when I was at school because I hung out with naughty friends because I was a child. But those things back then, it doesn't mean that I have done anything like that since then. And as I grew up in church, and I learnt about integrity and the truth, my dad was always a believer of honesty is the best policy. That's the way my dad taught me. He didn't tolerate lying. So I was brought up lying is lying, and all these things I got taught as I grew up, and I didn't understand it, and then I realized, as I grew and mature spiritually, and God was training me and humbling me in so many ways and just teaching me so much. So I have worked hard, and so what everyone has done on me has been intentional. So don't call me poverty, okay? For those, because I find that one of the things these people, the opposing allies, wants to try and focus on people being in poverty, but I am not where I am financially because of my own doing. All right. I'm glued to the people that are thieving my ideas and making money out of me without my permission. Okay, they're using the relationship scam. Even musicians, grooming other people to make money. That's wrong. Okay, that is wrong. And then you're building an alliance, using the relationship scam and making people turn on each other for money. That's wrong. That's wrong. That is wrong. That is not Christian. That's illegal. That's just wrong.